Sega has gained a very unique reputation in the gaming world over the past decade. While most identify them as the house that Sonic built, the truth is they have always published quirky and experimental games that go against the grain of what most publishers are putting out in the market. Colorful games like Jet Set Radio, fun music games like Space Channel 5, and immersive cinematic experiences like Shenmue were championed as what set the Dreamcast apart from its primary competition, the Sony PlayStation 2. Unfortunately, Sega was also financially reckless, and they overspent on the Dreamcast. Its failure left fans of the company to ponder if that innovative spirit would leave when they transitioned from a platform holder to a software publisher. Sega was quick to let their audience know, though, that they would not abandon them by producing sequels and spiritual successors to their more popular titles. The one that had the most symbolic impact was by far Ryu ga Gotoku, better known in the Western Hemisphere as Yakuza.
Just your bad luck to have run into me.
It's Haruka. That's my name.
I just killed top captain Tojo clan.
Yakuza is both an evolution of the Shenmue model of gameplay and an ode to Japanese mob movies. The story centers around Kazuma Kiryu, a well-respected member of the Dojima clan. When his best friend, Akira Nishiki, kills their boss to protect Kazuma's fiancée, Yumi, he chooses to take the fall and is imprisoned for 10 years. When he's released, he begins his search for his lost love, gets caught up in a clan war over 10 billion yen, and tries to solve the mystery of how a mysterious young girl named Haruka is tied into everything. It's a major contrast from Shenmue's love of the mundane, and it's probably why it sold quite a bit more when it was released. The characters are well fleshed out and make what would be an otherwise average plot more exciting. And it also helps that the world they inhabit has been detailed in a way that rivals other bigger budget titles of the time. Exploration is key to Yakuza's gameplay, and it's why people keep coming back to it. Yakuza's world is filled to the brim with side quests, mini-games, and other various diversions to keep the player invested. Up for some slots? Go right ahead. Need to work on your swing? Try the batting cage on the north side. Interested in trying your hand at wooing a hostess? There's 2 clubs in the city. I'm sure you'll find someone to your type. And if you're dying to test your crane game skills, there's a fully functioning UFO catcher at either of the Club Sega locations in the town. Yakuza is not a game that railroads you. It's a game that needs to be experienced. As an early pseudo-open world game, it manages to have a dense, living world that never feels empty. It might feel like a step down in some ways compared to games like Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, or any of the other open world games that have come out recently. But in others, it feels like the developers made a conscious decision to cut out all the fat that plagues games of this nature. It's refreshing to go back and feel what it's like to be in a thoughtfully crafted out area, devoid of all the randomly generated maps that become all the rage these days. This is not to say the game is perfect, because it's got a couple of serious flaws. Yakuza falls prey to having a weak combat system that doesn't encourage variety. You'll find yourself cheesing the same combos over and over again, and not have any reason to do otherwise. Weapons are also lackluster. They don't have the impact you'd expect them to have. This is all fixed in the sequels, but due to the narrative-driven nature of the games, you'll want to play them in order to keep up with the plot, because it gets really dense. This other major issue is specific to the US version. The game was released in 2006 with an English localization that suffers all the problems you'd expect to find in a Japanese game or an anime from the time. The game is fully voice acted in English, and the dub is hit or miss. It's a bummer because there's some big names on the cast like Mark Hamill and Michael Madsen, but their performance runs at odds with the tone of the game. It doesn't help by the translated script either. One of the localizers has shared with the community that one of the directives given to the team is to insert as much strong profanity into the script as possible, even if it's at odds with the text. This results in lapses of logic and more than the few laughable scenes that are memorable for, well, all the wrong reasons.
What the?
Let's this.
Unfortunately, due to the space limitations, there is no way to switch the audio to Japanese, so you'll just have to muscle through the game with the English audio. Oh, but don't worry, starting with Yakuza 2, the company dropped dubbing and left the Japanese audio untouched. While a little rough around the edges, Yakuza is still an experience that is worth having. The story and environment make up for the flawed combat system, and it sets a solid groundwork for the much improved sequel. The game is the first of a series of 8 games, 5 of which made it to the US, with Yakuza Dead Souls for the PS3 being the last US released game in the series. Since then, there have been 2 additional Ryuga Gotoku titles released, with a 3rd game named Ryuga Gotoku Zero coming soon to the PS3 and PS4, serving as a prequel to the first game. Sega has shown no interest in localizing any more games in the series, so be prepared for the cliffhanger and/or Japanese lessons if you want to keep going. There's also an HD version on the PS3 and Wii U that comes with Yakuza 2, but again, it's Japan only. Maybe someone will find a way to patch those versions one day so that other people can try them out. There's also a small but vocal fan base still trying to get Sega to consider bringing the series back to the West. Regardless of the fates of the series, though, the ones we have are definitely worth playing. And we're better to start in the first in the series.